Good afternoon or good morning, whichever it is you watch this. Maybe good evening. Anyway, bell ringer today for today's lesson on expected value, and unit 2 of probability for AQR is expected value. On the bell ringer, if you could win $3 for hitting all 3 targets with 3 shots and the game costs $1 for 3 shots, what is the probability that you will leave with $2 more than you started? Okay, so in the lesson before, this is a bell ringer from the lesson before, we just had this lesson, and we talked about Pascal's triangle. This is a small version of Pascal's triangle. Top row is for not getting any kind of attempts. The next row, which is row 1, is 1 attempt. The next row, row 2, is 2 attempts. And the last row, row 3, is 3 attempts. So using this triangle at the row describing 3 attempts, which is 1, 3, 3, 1, the sum of this row is 4, being the sample set. 0 hits, 1 hit, 2 hits, or 3 hits. There are 4 different opportunities or possibilities when trying this, right? And the 1 is the chance out of 4 to hit 3 out of 3. So the probability of 3 out of 3 is 1/8. So therefore, there's a 12.5% probability you'll make $2 more. However, there isn't an 87.5% probability you walk away with having spent $1 with nothing to show for it. So there you go. All right, good things. This is the last lesson in the probability unit. So that is always a good thing when we finish a unit up, and we'll get started on the project hard and heavy next week. So that project we get started on, a lot of people are really frightened by it. You shouldn't be. I've been teaching this for 5 years, and no one died making the project, and no one was injured making the project. So if you're scared of hard things, then you're just scared of hard things, you'll get over it. All right, so expected value. Do you receive an allowance? Do you have a job? Do you get paid enough? Do you deserve more? And how much do you make in a year? Can you answer any of these questions? Well, some of them I'm sure you can answer just from your opinion. I'm sure a bunch of you think that you don't get paid enough, and a bunch of you believe that you don't deserve more. But could you calculate how much you make in a year? That's something you might want to consider learning how to do before you take a job based on hourly wages. Because you want to compare apples to apples, especially if you're getting a job that pays an hourly wage and you have another job waiting in the wings that pays you a salary per year. You might want to know how to compare them to each other. So anyway, Yvonne gets a $15 a week for allowance. She also loves to play basketball. She wants to convince her father to try something new with her allowance based on her shooting talent, hoping that it'll increase what she receives in her allowance. She suggests that instead of getting just $15, she attempts shooting baskets each week for her allowance. Well, isn't this novel? I don't know if my kid ever tried to do this to me, but I would say go back to doing your chores. If she misses the first basket, she only gets $5. Here's another rule. If she makes or succeeds with the first basket, she gets $15 and a chance to make another basket for an additional $10. She can make a basket 40% of the time. So, to help Yvonne's father decide whether to use the new allowance plan, find the probability of Yvonne making 0 baskets, 1 basket, and 2 baskets, and justify your reasoning with an appropriate model. So let's look at some different models, okay? Here's a tree diagram. They can be found by first identifying the branches that correspond to each outcome, then multiply the values along the branch that arrive at the outcome. This product is corresponding probability. Okay, the first basket, either you hit or you miss. If you miss, you don't go any further. 60% of the time, she's only going to get $5. Okay? Go on to 40%. If she hits, she automatically gets $10 or $15. If she misses, that's all she gets is $15. And that's the outcome here. Probability of hit miss is $15. Okay? And that's 24%. And the probability of hit is 2 times the probability of hit, or you get the probability of getting $25. It's $10 for the first basket, or $15 for the first basket, and $10 for the second. Is 40% of 40%, which is only 16%. So that's a really good model to describe what we're talking about. Here's another one. This is an area model. She can make 40% of her baskets. That's the shaded portion. So 40% of her baskets she can make. Okay. As you know, she misses 60% of the time. Using the area model, the lighter shade area represents the missing the basket 60% of the time. The darker shaded area represents making the basket 40% of the time. Now, out of the remaining 40%, she has a 40% chance of making another basket. Well, in 40% of the time, she only makes the basket 16 times. And as you can see, this is a 10 by 10, okay? This is 60, and this is all 40. Of the 40, this is 16, and this is 24. And as you can see, this is a really good model, and it gives us the same answer here, 16, 24, and 6. 60%, 60.6 is 60. My mistake. So let's move on. How many times a year do you expect Yvonne to get $5, $15, and $25? We have to take the numbers we just got. 60% of the time she gets $5. So 60% of 52 weeks is 31 weeks. So 31 weeks she expects to get $5. 24% of the time she gets $15. 24% of 52 weeks is about 13 weeks. So she expects to get $15 for 13 weeks of the year. And 16% of the time she gets $25. That's hitting both baskets. That's 8.32. So for 8 weeks, she'll expect to get $25. How much allowance should she expect to receive in a year? So $5 for 31 weeks is $155. $15 for 13 weeks is $195. And then $25 for 8 weeks is $200. So she should expect to receive the sum of those, or $550 for the year. All right. So Yvonne practiced shooting baskets all year. She can now make a basket 60% of the time. Yvonne offers her father the same deal. What is the probability of Yvonne making 0 baskets, 1 basket, or 2 baskets? So we're going to look at it differently. Now she can make it 60% of her baskets. You also know that she misses 40% of the time. So 40% of the time she only makes $5. Making 1 basket is 40% of 60% that remains. And the reason we know that is because 40%, the remaining, when you make a basket, it's 60%. If you got 60% of the beginning, it's 60 times the miss percentage, which is 40%. Oh, it's 24%. So 24% of the time, she'll only make $15. And 60 times 60 is 36, 60%, or 0.6. You'll get 36% for making 36% of the time, she'll get $25. A lot better than the 40% shooting. How much money should she expect to receive in 1 year using this new percentage scheme? Well, she makes $5 40% of the time. That's about $105. 21 weeks. 24% of the time she makes $15. That's about 12 weeks she makes $15. That's $180. 36% of the time she makes $25. That's $475 because 19 weeks she makes $25. So she should expect to receive $760 for the year. So how many times do you expect Lisa, her sister, who only can hit the basket 20% of the time? How many times is she going to get $5, $15, and $25? Let's see. No baskets, she gets $5 80% of the time. 1 basket, she gets $15 16% of the time. And 2 baskets, 4%, she gets $25. So you now looked at Yvonne's situation and Lisa's to determine what percent of time they are each receiving to receive $5, $10, and $15, $5, $15, and $25. We're going to make a table and graph that show the relationship between these shooting percentages and the amount of allowance earned, as well as other possible shooting percentages, say 60% accuracy, related to the amount of allowance earned. How is this relationship? Okay, the relationship is more baskets made, the more money received for allowance. So as you can see, as we move up, that percentage and average allowance per week, we can get the total and divide by 52. This moves up very quickly, doesn't it? All right. Her ability to make basket improved to 30%. Use a graph. What average weekly allowance should she expect? And what is the average amount Lisa should expect? As you can see, this moves up. But how does it move? What kind of curve is it? I'm not sure. The graph seems to pass the y-axis between $8 and $9. The actual amount is 0.7 times 5, 0.21 times 15, and 0.09 times 25, or $8.90. So she wants to earn an average weekly allowance of 15. What percentage of baskets must she make? 63%. And you follow this, you can see it would end up right about here. It's a linear form. So, all right. Her father figured out that he had been giving Yvonne $20 per week for her allowance. What percentage of the baskets is Yvonne making? What information did you use to answer this question? Okay, so she's getting $20 per week. We got to follow that line all the way up to 20. She's probably going to make a pretty big percentage of her baskets, Matter of fact, if you follow the graph, it looks like she's going to be making about 80% of the baskets. So I'll launch you with this. You know how and why folks make money at carnival games? Doesn't that make you want to become a carny? I mean, except for the nasty teeth and all. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, I made this 2 years ago. It's still kind of funny if you think about it. Anyway, there's a lesson in the Google Classroom. Be sure to get it done. In the meantime, be blessed. Be a blessing.